Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart analysis of YouTuber and spiritual guru Ralph Smart. Now, we don't have his birth time, we have his birthday and his location of birth. I found this chart on a site that claims that this was his rising, but I'm not sure that that's right. I don't think it is. There was no time. It was set for 12 p.m. So I will say this is going to be without the time. And he is a sun in Pisces at 12 degrees, moon in Sagittarius at 12 degrees. And I want to start, hopefully you're not new to astrology, because I want to start with this sun-moon combination. And it's in what's known as a square in the middle of a disseminating and a last quarter phase. Again, it's a square. And the reason I bring that up is Ralph Smart, according to this chart, and it's probably accurate. You can see that you can see through his work that this is accurate. He is a guy who's coming out of society. You can see it by how well spoken he is, how good his videos are. Comes out on YouTube and he's amazing right from the start. He sounds like someone who's established in society and coming out of his sleep, for lack of a better term, and moving into the last quarter phase, which is can be known as a crisis in consciousness. So he's a guy that probably you could say had a really good understanding of society, maybe had some status in society, and this isn't necessarily in this life, past life. And here he is just now with that square, right on the cusp, coming into this phase. And I believe that is astrologically, we can tell that would be the reason why he seems so adept at what he does right from the beginning. Versus someone like me, you can probably look at some of my work and see how much different it is. Let's see here. So we got the sun in Pisces, moon in Sagittarius. So right off the bat, he's a guy who he's a teacher. He can appear as a teacher, as a spiritual teacher, with the sun and the moon both in those signs that are ruled by Jupiter. Being the truth seeker, the religious person, the Sagittarius, the, the giver, the helper, the spiritual teacher with the sun in Pisces. And he also has Jupiter in Pisces, and it's in moving towards the sun in what's known as balsamic phase. So another sign that this person's Jupiter in Pisces, where it's exalted, it's conjunct the sun in that balsamic phase. This is a person who's going to come across as if he is already done this before, as if he's experienced. And I mentioned that just because if you continue to study astrology and you continue to look at these charts with me, you will see that just because that these planets are in these phases and in these aspects, it doesn't mean that they are what they say they are. Everything is relative. Thank you, Einstein. And he also has Venus in Pisces. So we have more Pisces, lots of Pisces. And usually when you see a lot of this Pisces, I mean, you could see, if you go back to some of my other charts, you see the Jesus Christ chart. He's got a ton of Pisces. Now, we really don't know what Jesus Christ sounded like, looked like. We don't really know the truth. But I was going to mention that other than that chart, when you see a lot of Pisces, you can have someone who's a dreamer, not very practical. Quick story, I had a guy in a real estate office I know who runs a brokerage, he is huge stellium in Pisces. And this guy, he's worked his way up to this position, and he's a dreamer. He's a giver. He likes to give. When there's a disaster, he's down there in Texas or wherever it is, Louisiana, with those hurricanes. He's down there. He's helping out. But another reason I mentioned that is he knows his real estate. That's what he knows. That's what he's good at. If he's trying to get into something else, he might not really know what he's talking about. So it's the same thing with spirituality. Spirituality is very deep. So we have a guy here, Ralph Smart. Not to say that he doesn't know what he's talking about or his videos are bad or anything like that. I just wanted to point that out, that just because you see these aspects doesn't mean that the person is bringing much. He just doesn't mean that that person is the authority on spirituality. I guess that's the best way to put it. So moving on, he's got this Mercury here at 0 degrees, moving out of Pisces. So he's got kind of a combination of Pisces, Aries. So it gives him that ability to speak on these spiritual topics. Moving into Aries, he's motivated to take what he knows, take his spirituality, and bring it out and speak it out into the world with that Mercury just moving into Aries. And we can see more of what I was talking about earlier, where he's moving out of society and into his individuality with his work here. With that, Uranus is at 22 degrees, Venus is at 22 degrees, it's making an exact square. Square being between those two planets, there's some tension there. There's some obstacles. And I say that he's moving, we can even add this Mars and this Moon conjunction here, all making a square to that Venus. He's moving with that Venus in Pisces, and it's in the Scorpio decan. Down here, Scorpio at 22 degrees. He's moving out of society, change with his new beliefs, with his new value system, his new spirituality. And he's doing that through his Venus. He's doing that through money, by making money off of spirituality. Now, again, not to say anything, make any judgments on that, but that's what he's doing. He's making money off of his newfound belief system that he's so passionate about. Mercury speaking out his passion. Mercury at 0 degrees moving into Aries from Pisces. Okay, let's look at his Neptune. Doesn't really have, he has a Neptune Jupiter, and we're going to see Neptune Jupiter sextile. A lot of these big players in the world have a Neptune Jupiter contact. And we can see, again, if you know a little bit more about astrology, I just noticed Jupiter and Neptune are in a mutual reception. Jupiter's in its fall. So we have this Jupiter exalted in Pisces. We have Neptune here, who's ruled by Pisces. And because it's making a sextile, there's a reception. And Jupiter's in its fall in Capricorn. So although we have this Jupiter exalted, it's in its fall in Capricorn by making that reception with Neptune. What does that mean? It means he has that aspect of helping others, but he also wants to expand his status. And that's clear whether he wants to do that or not. His status has exploded on YouTube over the past 10 years. Saturn, let's talk a little bit more about this stellium in Sagittarius, because we can't ignore the fact that there is a combination of Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces, there's a lot of Sagittarius, and it is necessary. It's necessary to do what he's doing, for sure, to be on YouTube. He's a salesman, and to get that big, you got to be a salesman. And he is a salesman. Saturn there, Saturn moon in Sagittarius. This is a guy who's got Mars moon, Mars sun square, Mars Venus square. I talked about Mars in billionaires charts and people that are driven. They have that are big players in the world. They're driven. Whether they're right or not is irrelevant. Whether they're do-gooders or not is irrelevant. They're driven to do what they want to do with that strong Mars. And it's in the 16 degrees, so it's in that Aries decan where it rules. And the last thing I'm going to speak about is the Pluto here. And Pluto's making a trine to this Jupiter. So this is a guy who, it's also, well, before I say that, it's also making it's also retrograde moving towards that south node in Scorpio. So this is where he's coming from, a power position. And with Jupiter trining that Pluto, this is a powerful person. Or he may be powerful, or he wants, or as life goes on, he's going to become more powerful. And more reason to that is that Pluto, through his life, is making a transit. It starts here at 7 degrees, and it goes through all this Sagittarius, where he completely transformed his belief system, as I was speaking to earlier. And this is probably when he really took off, when Pluto was going over that Uranus and Neptune, and then from there there was smooth sailing here. You can see there's no Pluto conjunctions. It'll be interesting to see when Pluto comes up here and really makes a hard conjunction to that Neptune, but that won't be for about 20 years or so. So back to this Pluto, it's making that trine to all of those Pisces planets, really showing the power position. And with that North Node in Taurus, ruled by that Venus we talked about, he was coming from a position of power and really knowing how to sell and get other people to buy his products and his knowledge. And the North Node, with being there in Taurus, he's rewarded with money. The ruler is Venus. I'm sure this guy's got a lot of money. If you made it this far, please like the channel. Please like the video so I can do more of these. Subscribe to the channel. Leave comments about what you think of Ralph Smart's chart, or what you think about what I've said. And I really appreciate you listening, and have a great day.